Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Even though we skipped a week, here we are for our weekly podcast. How's everyone doing? I'm Chris, the real Darth guy. With me is Justin Baggy Noodle Arms. How you doing today?
Doing well. How about you?
I'm doing really well. All things considered, I know last week was a little bit of a bummer for me, so this feels really good to be live again. Really good to be on cam and chit-chatting with you again. How's your week been?
Does feel good to be back.
Right. How's your week been?
Well, 2 weeks, Ben, right?
Right. Yeah, we can go over all kinds of things.
It's been a little chaotic with work stuff. Had a great weekend, though. Basically, barely touched my computer for the weekend. Kind of just spent time with Becky and outdoors and kind of, trying to get that mental state back up.
Yeah, I understand that. I miss...
We also have nice weather.
Do you have nice weather?
Yeah, you probably did, too. You're close enough.
I had 2 days of nice weather, like Saturday and Sunday. Last Sunday was a freakishly nice day at 75 or 74 degrees, somewhere in the mid 70s. And it was absolutely gorgeous. And then one day later, cold. Like, gross cold.
Yeah, cold wind a little bit.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain. Like, it was just, I don't know. Like, Ohio can't make up its mind what it wants to do with the weather. It's like, hey, here's a summer day. Let's go back to winter. Like, we're supposed to get snow this week again.
Oh, good luck.
Like, I'm sure it's going to be that overnight snow kind of a thing where you wake up, there's a light dusting, and then it goes away throughout the day. But still, I'm like, man, why in Ohio do we have to have all seasons in 1 week? Like, why is that a thing? Why do we do that?
Yeah, New England's known for that as well.
It's
they do say it's good to have snow late in the year because it makes less mosquitoes, I believe. So
okay. I mean, I'm all for that because I'm even looking at those lawn treatments or whatever. But because last year it was pretty rough in the backyard because the area I live in is kind of marshy a little bit. So obviously that's like prime time for mosquitoes. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll see. Now you got me all worried about mosquitoes. I'm like, oh man, that ruined my hangout time sometimes out on the back porch.
Well, hopefully that snow will make it a better summer for you.
Right. It'll be good. I'm excited. We're actually remodeling our back porch to make it bigger so that we can entertain more people and all that stuff. So one of these days you got to come by,
You know I
Come
will.
visit.
I do like to road trip. Speaking of traveling, we just bought, they're not here yet, but we bought folding bicycles.
Oh, I saw you.
I've been looking into these for weeks because I've been like obsessed with the idea of them, and I bought me and Becky one. So we'll have those in our car to travel.
So how it folds up and you put it in the trunk. It's not like a briefcase bike, right?
So it folds almost perfectly in the middle so that the two wheels touch.
Okay. And
the handlebars slide down or collapse, and then the seat slides down. The pedals
like fold in,
collapse in.
Yeah.
And then you have like half a bike, basically, or whatever, slightly less than half a bike.
Okay. How much do they weigh?
Mine's 26 pounds. Hers is 32. So they're not super light, like you don't want to carry that around all day. But if you have to quickly pick it up out of the trunk or something, anybody basically can lift 30-ish pounds out of the car.
Yeah, and then you don't have to have the whole bike rack on the back, and then locking them all up feels a little safer. Yeah. There's a bunch of benefits there. That's cool. You're gonna have to take some photos of them when you actually get it and post it to the C2.
I'll have to be on the gram. Yeah,
I'm pretty curious about that. We want to get bikes as well, but we're just gonna get like trail bikes because I don't know if you have a bunch of nature parks in your area, but like we have a Metro Park system where you can actually go from like Columbus, which is 2 hours south, all the way up through and all the way up to Lake Erie on these trails. Cool. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Of course, I'm not planning on going all the way down to Columbus and riding my bike back home or something crazy like that. But, it's just, you pick a little section and it rides through a bunch of like little towns and things like that where you can, go to the local like deli or something like that for lunch or whatever. So it's just a little bit of a fun thing to do in the summertime, just get out there a little.
Probably
more.
My favorite exercise is biking. I wrote on Twitter, I've been riding a BMX. I don't do tricks, but like been riding a BMX since I was, I don't know, 14. That's how you got to your friends, probably younger. before that, I think it was mountain bike, but still, I've had my BMX bike. So I have this little bike, and I'm 30, and I'm cruising up these hills like I'm a child.
That's awesome.
Wearing my straight brim hat. It's pretty funny. But hey, I love it, and it's fun. But this has some gears. The folding bike's minus 7 gears, so it'll feel like a big deal to me. I've had 1 gear on each wheel, on the wheel, and 1 gear on the pedal for
forever.
15 years. So it'll feel nice.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll post photos. I'm always trying to get outdoors more. It definitely helps with, like I said, mental state. Just kind of getting the sun rays, keeping you awake a little more.
Yep. And
exercise.
I mean, and technically speaking, it can be used now, even with the social distancing stuff. So you just, as long as you're not on a real tight trail of some sort, and you have an ample passing room and all that great stuff, you're good to go. So may as well, right?
For sure. Yeah, we went paddleboarding this weekend. I'm so stoked that neither of us fell in because the water was like, I don't know what it was, but it was cold. I had to go up to like almost my knees just to get like pushed out.
I don't want to.
And it was not enjoyable.
I did not want to dip into this.
Not want to fall in. Luckily, neither of us did. There was a little more people than I would have liked, especially like you said, the social distancing. But you really only were near them launching.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's quick on a paddleboard. I mean, you throw it in and walk away. But
I like to do kayaking.
But yeah.
I have those sit on top ones where it's nice and easy to get out, and it's more of a cruising type thing. You're not going to go on any rapids or anything like that, but I enjoy that because just hanging out, listening to the wind, and going down a river or something like that. It's a good time. So we're going to buy my wife one here pretty soon. So we have bikes and a new kayak for my wife in the mix.
Look at that. We're almost 20.
I know. Look at that.
We'll have bikes, watermobiles. So
good time.
Have to do a camp trip or something.
Right.
Real quick shout out to Chippy and Big Cheese Ball for being here, right at the beginning.
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
Anybody else who's hanging out, lurking, appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Actually, we do have a couple of pretty big things to talk about. So if you were here for the very beginning, for the little, starting soon screen, you probably heard a little bit of a different feel to the intro because normally I was playing kind of chill music. Now I actually played our new theme song. Mr. Luke Diamond made this theme song for us, and I'm real excited about it because, I sent him the little chip tunes, as we say, where it's got kind of the video gaming synthesizer sounds in there to make the music, and he nailed it. He hit it out of the park. I really like this song. Like, I listened to it a couple times just on my own, and then it's stuck in my head all the time, and I actually heard my son walking around humming it once. And I was like, yes.
It's funny. You keep saying theme song. And to me, like theme song, for some reason, has to have lyrics almost.
Okay. You're like.
So I keep feeling like we need that,
We'll just.
I don't know.
You can write lyrics.
Theme song. I'll be there for you.
Right. Us in a fountain doing all the things.
Yeah.
All the different characters and stuff.
If we ever get together, we totally have to film like a stupid intro skit like that for everything.
If we ever get together, because both of you and I have talked about the fact that it would have been awesome if we could have been actors. We have to film as many skits as we can possibly film when we're together. Just because then, just throwing them on like the C2 YouTube or whatever, on my social would be awesome to have extra ones.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think about that all the time, how it would be awesome to be. I think we even talked about it one episode, didn't we? How we both kind of wanted to be actors at one point.
I think we may have, yeah. Like, I remember as a kid, everyone sounds like Jim Carrey kind of, and, I was kind of out there and doing the laughs and all the... So, and I know you even still want to kind of get into voice acting potentially.
I do, and I thought about putting some stuff out on Fiverr. Still looking for, like, someone else's script or something like that, because I feel like if it's someone else's script, I'll be able to act it a little bit differently, because I don't know, when I'm writing something, like I already have it pictured in my mind. I don't know, it's kind of weird because I already have an inner dialogue talking to me over my shoulder, so I already have like my voice saying the things. But if I'm reading a script fresh, I feel like I would be able to put a little different spin on it, if you will.
I would love to be a voice in a video game. That'd be so cool, especially if it ends up being one that like you're in love with. Like for me, if I was like a Destiny character, I don't think I could die happier.
You're one of the mechanics off like doing some random work at the tower, and you just stand by him the whole time just so you can hear your voice lines. You're like, no, guys, I'm just gonna go over here. I'm gonna listen to my voice lines. Hold on, I'll be back.
That's like one of the Halos had. Oh gosh, now I can't think of his name. Jimmy Fallon?
Really?
He's the one who loves video games, right?
He does. Yeah, he does video game actual segments in his show.
It was Conan O'Brien, I think.
Okay.
Hath's in chat. Thank you, welcome, Hath. I'm sure he'll correct me. He's a big Halo guy, I believe. I think it was like one of the Halos. Like you said, you have to like stand in like this spot that you usually wouldn't hang out, and if you stand there for so long, the two NPCs like have a little chatter.
Oh wow!
And it's his voice or something. So
that would be cool.
Yeah, even that would be cool. I mean, I would much rather be like, you hear me often, but I'll take the mechanic in the corner.
What we'll do is we'll just do like a red versus blue thing, and we'll just record video and record voiceovers over the top of whatever we want.
There you go.
I tried to do that.
I even take like a grave in a graveyard with my name, you know, like
okay.
Here lies Noodles or whatever.
Man, I tried to do that red versus blue thing once when I was a kid, like right when it first came out.
Did you?
Me and my buddies, we recorded the screen. So we were like, oh, let's just put a camera in front of the screen and then we'll do the whole thing and then we'll record over it later. We were not quite as funny as red versus blue. I'll say that. It was terrible enough to the point where like halfway through we watched it back and we're like, this is not working out. And we just stopped and lost it forever.
I actually didn't like versus blue. I never thought it was funny.
Really? I thought some of the episodes. It's like one of those cartoons where if you've experienced something like it, then you're like, okay, this one's pretty good, but for the most part, like they were a little bit annoying just because their characters were a little bit on the extreme.
Too young enough, or I don't know, who knows,
okay.
But I know I tried to watch, like, I don't really like Robot Chicken, and I feel like that's pretty similar.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Robot Chicken either. I'm definitely not.
But yeah.
Well.
Diving down TV.
So.
But anyway.
Back to what we were talking about. So we got this theme song. We're releasing on podcast services and everything like that. Officially this Monday, by the way. So if you want to listen to it in audio format, it'll be every single Monday from next Monday forward, or this Monday. Do you say this Monday or next Monday? Because it's the next week, but I don't know. Anyway.
Next Monday will be the episode of this Wednesday.
Yeah.
I've heard Apple slow, so if you don't see it till like Tuesday, don't be surprised, especially like the first one.
Yeah, because we do have to be registered and they have to validate it and all that stuff. So I might even start the upload stuff on Sunday just to get it kind of kicked off, and then we can do the tweeting and all that stuff because no one will know about us until we promote it a little bit more. But
True.
We also have a brand new name, and for our podcast, for this project, for this fabulous thing. And what is that, Noodles?
So the name, the shortened version, GGWP. If you're a gamer, probably seen it before. Typically is a good game, well played. We are Good Games Weekly Podcast. And I'll explain a little bit where the name came from. I mean, we were kind of playing with gaming terms. We kind of settled on GG. Mm-hmm. Just good game. And good game was taken. Good games was taken. Good gamers was taken. And we were like, okay, so we need to come up with our own G words to use. Kind of struggled with it. And I put a thing on Twitter, as I do, Twitter. And Mars Echelon, wrote, you should do GGWP, and basically named it for us.
Yep.
Good Game Weekly Podcast. We added an S, but it fits perfectly. It's a weekly podcast, mostly about gaming, and
it's a podcast.
Yeah. And people know it. Like I said, GGWP. You see that, and you're like, okay, I know what that is. Yep. At least if you're in the gaming world of multiplayer, maybe not if you're like, only a Nintendo player or something, you might not know, but
it fits really well just because we wanted it to be instantly recognizable as a gaming-centric podcast. So right away, even if let's say we do a logo with just the GG portion and then type weekly podcast out, or if we do GGWP, it all kind of flows together and works for the people in gaming to be like, oh, that's a gaming podcast, obviously, So it'll be nice. very excited to finally have the name. And it was kind of cool because I want to say you screenshotted a tweet of Mars suggesting the name. And then like instantly I was like, that's it. That's it. It fell right into place. And I was like, ooh, I really like that one. And the rest
we struggled for like weeks on this name.
We started with we've had Squad Up podcast.
Squad Up. I don't even remember the other ones, to be honest. A lot of them were terrible. Some were decent. All the good ones were taken.
Yeah.
All the terrible ones we didn't want, and we wanted gaming to be obvious, but not just the gaming podcast, because we like to talk about other things too. Yeah. And I feel like this is perfect. It describes gaming, but I feel like it's not crazy if we talk about, I don't know, the Friends theme song.
And we can also, at the end of it, we can be like, GG's, whatever. When you intro it, you could say, welcome to GG Weekly, and it's nice and short there. You could say the full thing. You can go all over the place with it, and I really like the way it feels. So now we're struggling with the logo, but we're gonna go with something no matter what. So we're not gonna wait any longer. We're not gonna wait for a special logo or anything like that. So we have just something I made that we'll throw up there if we can't find something. But we are looking for a logo as well. I'm just excited to kind of be done with that chapter of this, because it was definitely weighing on my mind. Like, we don't have a name. We don't know what we are. We don't know who we are.
I mean, we had Let's See To It, and we didn't hate it, but we knew if we go on Spotify and we throw Let's See To It up there, unless you're in this Discord with us, you don't know who the heck, like, what this is about at all. You have no idea. You don't know who we are. You don't maybe care. I don't know. Yeah. So we feel like we can draw some new eyes in to our show, which is what, we're passionate about and doing. And then hopefully, potentially the Discord too, who knows? Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, Cheeseball says, I said get beamed, COD term. I saw you write that. I never heard get beamed.
I've never heard that either, actually. Interestingly enough.
Is that like like when you get lasered in a game, like all the bullets, they're just hitting every bullet.
Literally hitting you in the face. I don't know. Actually, Huggy Bear,
laser beam.
Since so we did all the announcement stuff, we did all the intro stuff. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes of this, because Huggy Bear 615 actually asks an interesting question for us to talk about, and he asks, I didn't know if you covered this before, but what are your thoughts on games being leaked? Because The Last of Us.
I don't think we touched it.
The Last of Us was leaked recently. We've seen many game leaks in the past, so I mean, I can speak on this. It's weird. In my eyes, it's weird. So sometimes I want leaks. Other times I hate them with a passion. So, and it's...
I think it depends on the leak, right? Like, if I get a leak of a weapon that's going to be in the game, okay, big deal, right?
I kind of classify it, yes.
Little hype.
I agree with you there. I don't like it when it's story-based. So if it's a game like Last of Us, that, like, you want to experience every single moment of that story vanilla, like you've never seen it before. You don't want any advanced information. It's the same thing as if you were to get an Avengers Endgame spoiler before you saw it. Same thing.
Right.
But if it's a multiplayer game like Call of Duty, I'm like, I want to know every map. I want to know every weapon. I want to know every perk. I want to know everything about this game before they announce it, because like it doesn't really affect. There's no real surprise there for me in a game like a multiplayer Call of Duty style thing,
I think the only thing I'd say there is, like, if everything for the new COD got leaked a year before it came out, I feel like you just killed all the hype, right? Like,
yeah, I guess
you have nothing to look forward to besides playing it. That is something, but like, I think, somewhere it builds that in your head that it's more hyped if like, oh my gosh, it's a week before and I just found out my favorite gun or map or whatever is going to be in the game, and now you're like texting all your buddies, you're getting on next week, right? They're gonna bring back I can't even remember any of the maps, but like, you almost want like a trickle of leaks, and then at that point they're not probably leaks, they're probably marketed. But
right.
Like I said, I don't mind if something small leaks, especially if it's something you were hoping, kinda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I heard Last of Us was like the entire plot. I didn't read it. I hope never to.
I want to play that game so bad. It's actually going to make me go back to my PlayStation, which I haven't been back to since I bought a PC. And I don't want anything to be ruined. The trailer was released today, and after watching the trailer, I'm just like, wow.
I didn't see
that game it's gonna be amazing. Naughty Dog does great with their stories. Like,
yes,
we're lucky in Naughty Dog as a developer because they're so good at writing stories, but the gameplay is also good. So it's not like, oh, it's a really good story, but see, I like the gameplay. That
the gameplay is not bad.
Yeah,
I thought The Last of Us, like, if you took the story out of The Last of Us and you just played that game, no one would be talking about that game ever again.
It's just a stealth shooter,
and there's
really.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But the only reason I've ever talked about the game ever again is because, like, it's probably one of 2 games. It's the only game I can think of that I've actually cried playing. Like,
okay.
You know, like,
it's a
and not like,
well, no,
like I was like, oh,
like, oh my god,
whoa,
like your heart drops a little bit,
yeah.
like you actually have some emotion in the story because you care about the characters. No, I understand what you're saying. I completely do.
I'm not emotional usually playing a game or watching a movie even typically, but like, and that game did it. And I was like, well, I mean, that's something I'm going to remember for forever because it made me feel, you know, it made you have
right. It was more than just
emotion.
Yeah, this is really fun. Real emotion came out on that. And actually, a good follow-up question from Huggy also is, do we think Naughty Dog handled it well?
I don't know how they handled it because once again, I'm like avoiding it. I didn't block it or anything anywhere, but like if I see the words leak Last of Us anywhere, I'm like, scroll.
Yeah, I actually, I did.
I heard that it wasn't them. That's all I know.
Right. So they found out that it was from hackers. Hackers got in through an older game's glitch onto their servers, and where they were able to pull that down.
Okay.
Interesting. That's basically all I know. Obviously, they just say they were able to crack into the servers by using an exploit in some other Naughty Dog game that gave them access to the Naughty Dog servers, and then they pulled some information down. So
probably like Rocks. Probably what even is online? I guess you can go online and.
I think you could still go online in Uncharted, can't you?
Uncharted? Yeah, it must, because it had to have been like a multiplayer game, most likely. So you connect to the internet,
right? You connect to them somehow, right? And I think, I think Last of Us multiplayer was turned off, if I remember correctly. I might be completely wrong. Please tell me if I'm completely wrong in the chat. And then I think Uncharted still has a multiplayer out there. I would want to say. I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either, but that sucks for them.
I never played any of those games for the multiplayer.
No, never. I tried Uncharted multiplayer once, and I couldn't do it. It was way too bullet spongy for what the game felt like it should have been. It was weird.
Okay.
It was like you're just.
It should have been like a 007, right? That's how it should have felt.
Yeah, and it was like you're jumping around and doing all the Uncharted like things, but when you're shooting each other, you're like emptying whole clips into this dude that has no armor, and you're just like, why? Why is that a thing? I don't know. I've never been a bullet spongy type multiplayer guy.
That's the guy who's been playing Division 2 a lot.
Well,
anyway.
But not multiplayer. I hate conflict in Division 2 so much because of the bullet sponge. I'm fine with bullet sponginess in the world of Division 2 just because like then it's like a challenge. How quickly can I kill them by making the perfect gun, you know?
I got you. I was just picking on you anyway.
No, it's fine.
Picking on the game more so.
Right.
As a past Division fan.
Yeah, to wrap up the question at least. I think they handled it fine. I think I
don't know how you can handle it well, right?
Right, like
it's something that's it's just
once they
what do you do?
Can you imagine waking up, because like I've woken up to server issues and things like that in my 9-to-5 job, but I can't imagine spending that much of your life on something that's about to release and you wake up and go, oh no, it's out there, and then you have to like investigate it. You have to have all those meetings because they're a company and all that. So like I can't imagine spending let's say 5 years, which I think it's a lot more than that, but we're just going to put 5 years working on something that you're so passionate about, and then the one morning you're like, it's ruined for like 20% of the population that would have loved this game. It would have loved to be subscribed.
Isn't that 20% though? Like I said before, like, so if I just read the script of The Last of Us, I wouldn't have cried, right? Like,
true.
There's still, like, I understand you'll know the plot, but still, I feel like playing it out is still going to be good. Like, even if you found out the end of an Avenger movie or, like, who killed someone in a murder mystery. Like, there's still something there to watch the whole thing and like see how they pieced it all together.
Well,
and see what leads to those moments. And I'm sure it's still going to be good for those people. I don't want spoilers. Like, I don't want to read the leaks because I'll enjoy the game more with that surprise. Right. But
I think
I think it can still.
You're right on that aspect because I didn't watch Avengers Endgame on release night. Whatever was happening in life, couldn't go see it, and I did find out what happened, and then I still enjoyed the movie anyways. Like, it still was exactly what I wanted it to be, regardless of if I knew what the end was. It's kind of like watching the movie Titanic. You're like, well, I know what's going to happen, obviously, but it's still exciting to kind of watch the build-up, that's a really weird comparison to take out there, but you know what I'm saying. I think I mentioned that because Petite at one point talked about Titanic recently, which was why it was on the mind. I don't know why. But anyway, so what games have you been playing recently, Mr. Noodles?
Yeah, as I said, this weekend I kind of took off. I played a tad of Animal Crossing, just did like my daily maintenance, if you want to call it that. You know, shook my trees, dug my fossils, whatever. But
did your yard work?
I didn't play like, yeah, I did my yard work in game, and I didn't play anything else all weekend. Yesterday I ended up playing some PvE. I don't know, my voice squeaked. I'm like 13 again.
It's okay.
Played some PvE in Destiny, which is fun. I've been a PvP main kind of the past year or two mostly, and it was kind of nice to get back into just the, shooting the dumb aliens,
almost like
getting the loot,
casual mode, if you will, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. I talked to a friend I haven't talked to in a month, and we just sat back and played. And yeah, I've played Destiny. I logged on to Sea of Thieves to try out the new content with Edge Undead, for anyone who knows him.
Okay.
What else did I do? Just like I said, Animal Crossing, of course. Still chasing those turnips in the stocks.
Yep.
And then nothing really new that I can think of off the top of my head. I did go to that Fortnite concert, the Travis Scott. I'm not a fan of the artist, so I think that's his name.
Yeah, I'm almost 100% positive it is Travis Scott. My kids went to that.
It was cool.
And they were like, it's one of the best events in a video game I've ever seen. And I'm like, cool, I guess.
No, I mean, as I said, I'm not a fan of his music. I don't even know the guy, like anything about the guy.
Right.
I'm not even a huge Fortnite player anymore. And the event was very cool. It was a little long for me, like half hour.
Okay.
But I mean, you're standing there. There's like giants dancing. They turn into robots. You're flying through space. You're swimming underwater. Like,
okay,
you got like a whole story just standing there.
Well, that's
watching a concert. It was really neat.
That is interesting. Huh. Last time I did an event in Fortnite, it was, of course, the Star Wars event because, well, the real Darth guy, of course.
Did you see the ship flying and everything?
Yeah, I did. And the most annoying thing about those events were all the people just jumping. Just continually jumping. I'm like, what are you doing? Watch the event. Stop it. And I envisioned in a movie theater when you have that like one person that continually moves in front of you and you're like, just sit still. Watch the movie. Stop it. Just watch.
I mean, the movie's definitely a worse thing than the game, but yeah, the rustling popcorn bag and the. I also hate the people who like scream like the TV can hear them.
Right. Yep. I'm fine with like. Woo! I'm fine with like.
Yeah.
in big Star Wars like release night events and stuff. I'm fine with people clapping when like the Millennium Falcon when that came on screen in The Force Awakens and things like that. Everyone's like, yeah, woo. And I'm like, okay, I'm good with that because, 2 seconds of cheering and screaming and then it's done. And then we're back to the movie again. I'm okay with that stuff, but like standing or like someone who just can't sit still and they're like this the whole time and you're like, and then you have to do the same thing because they're just tall enough to block like the bottom of the screen. And you're like,
yeah, they're shifting back and forth. You have to play like chicken with them.
Right. So that's what the Fortnite event, all the people jumping were to me, because then my eyes instantly go to the people jumping and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's distracting. It's very distracting.
Can you turn off other people? Just let me shut everyone else off and just be in there by myself. I don't know. But I guess then it wouldn't be much of a social event if I was alone, huh?
Real quick, while we're on the topic, Fortnite has another event in 2 days for anyone who is interested. It's more music, another concert. Dylan Francis, Steve Aoki, and Deadmau5 are all playing at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Really?
And you get a free neon music reactive neon wings back bling.
Okay.
So I'll do it because, like I said, it's cool. These are like those gaming moments I almost don't want to miss just because they're cool. Not because I even care necessarily a ton about the game. I don't listen to any of those artists, but like, it's cool to see games doing these. Like, we've had Christmas events, we've had like those type of events in the past, but this is another level. This is like, if you miss that concert at 9 or whatever, you probably don't see it again. If you weren't there for the Star Wars thing, you have to watch it on YouTube.
Yep.
You know,
yep.
like,
I feel like
it's pretty neat.
I almost feel like it would be so you mentioned the Christmas events, and I instantly thought Grand Theft Auto when it snows in Grand Theft Auto, right?
I didn't even know that.
Right. So during Christmas time, a lot of the time it'll snow there, and then they bring out the snowball launchers and all that stuff. And I just thought, I'm like, actually, how cool would it be if Grand Theft Auto out on the beach did like a beach concert with like, I don't know, we'll just say Snoop Dogg or something like that out on the beach. Like,
yeah,
that would be a really cool event to go to. But for some reason, Fortnite just doesn't make me go, yeah, let's start up Fortnite. You know, it just can't get me to do it. Unless they put Star Wars in it.
Well, what if they had like a artist you really liked? Like, what if it was your favorite band playing on Fortnite? Would you do it?
Possibly, but...
Oh, so you're really not committed.
Possibly, okay. But Star Wars did get me into Fortnite, so... But I wanted to slice people with lightsabers, that's why. Like, I was like, oh, cool.
Right. But I do think it's neat. I'd like to see what other companies kind of do to stick with this, maybe, because Fortnite's succeeding with it.
Yes.
Whether the game's doing well later or not, I don't know. But like, these events are full. People talk about it. There's videos.
Fortnite's kind of paving the way for these new big giant events like this, and kind of oddly enough, Call of Duty's like, we're gonna have events just like Fortnite in Warzone, and I think they went a little far by saying just like Fortnite, because like that would. Can you imagine you're like, oh, let's all go to the stadium, go inside, and then there's a concert in there, and you're like, this is weird. Are we supposed to shoot each other?
It would probably feel weird. Yeah.
Like, this doesn't make any sense.
I mean, they turn off shooting during the concert.
Yeah.
So probably do the same in COD.
Yeah, but
by the way, Hugh Graham says, "Wow, same mic and same chair as me, Darth."
Yeah.
You trying to be Hugh Graham?
I guess. I don't know. I just knew the mic was.
I have the same mic too. We're just quality stuff, right?
Yeah, quality stuff. I know it is the same actually. Mine's not all scratched up by the cat though. My cat tried to, and I was like, "Nope, you're forever exiled out of here." I've seen what the result is from Hugh Graham's Instagram posts and stuff like that. So I'm like, "No, stay away."
I have cat fur on mine, but yeah, no scratches.
Yeah. One time, so the cat was obviously sitting on my lap one time because that's what cats do, and like went after the microphone, smelled it once. I was like, "Nope, get out." No claws, no rubbing on that thing. Go away. But yeah, I love this stuff. You pick good stuff, Hugh. I don't know what to tell you, man. So anyway,
there you go.
Call of Duty Warzone. I wanted to talk about this interesting thing because I've been kind of, for lack of a better term, addicted to Call of Duty recently. I know you've probably noticed. I've basically only played that game. But I was watching, or not watching, but reading some news articles, and they are saying that Call of Duty Warzone is actually going to stay a constant from now on for all Call of Duty games. And I thought that was kind of
what does that mean?
Yeah, they haven't really clarified, but what I'm gathering from the hinted information is that they're going to be doing. So Call of Duty Warzone, we have the Verdansk map right now, right? So each time they move to a new game, they're going to release a new map that is kind of geared around that game. And then like it'll kind of have the same identity, kind of like the Call of Duty Warzone right now has the Call of Duty Modern Warfare identity on like layer of paint, if you will. So
basically instead of an arena PvP, although they might still have that, but instead of having that every COD, they'll have a Warzone in every COD.
And it'll do new releases each time for new maps and new guns and new stuff.
I wonder if your stuff will carry over from Warzone to Warzone, or if it'll be like a new game. I hope it carries.
Like you're still in Warzone, but you start at 0. Sorry, like that would stink.
Well, it's a new game, right? Because they could have a new engine, they could have a new look,
right?
They could have a new whatever.
Well, because
and you might lose stuff. I don't know.
What if they're not, obviously not going to have the exact same guns? So, like, how will that translate over to the next one? And then, what would be really disappointing is if, like, you really like the Verdansk map, and then they switch it on you, kind of like Fortnite. Some people really liked the original map. And then when the new map came out, people are like, well, now I can never play it again. That sucks. And it's kind of going to be the same thing.
Tilted Tower.
Where, like, if they remove this map, I'll be like, well, I kind of still want to play it. Why can't we go the way of PUBG and just have all the maps in there, you know?
Yeah, what is PUBG? PUBG, last I knew, had 3 maps? They probably have more now.
I think they have 3 or 4 still. I don't play PUBG all that often, and I never really have. I've just been a kind of a casual player once in a while, and I think there's 4.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able...
there was 2 when I stopped playing, so...
If anyone knows in chat,
I mean, they kept...
confirm that for us, but I think there's 4, yeah. I thought that was kind of cool, though, because that means Call of Duty Warzone will... it's always going to be free, and it's always going to be... There's always going to be some sort of player base that you can hop into that with that kind of follows the new Call of Duty. Kind of cool. I like it. Plus, that'll probably prevent me from buying every single Call of Duty. I'll just, get my fill from the little Warzone edition of it, I guess I would say. Kind of interesting. But
one of these nights you'll convince me. I watched the doc put out, Dr. Disrespect. Yeah. I feel like I talk about him every episode somehow, even though I don't watch him that much. But he put out a highlight video of him playing, and I immediately wanted to drop work or whatever I was doing and log on and play a Warzone because
it's fun.
It looked fun. Doesn't feel the same when I'm in it, but I feel like it has potential once I figure out what's going on.
The doc makes really good hype videos that get you wanting to play the games, and sometimes even watching him play in general. The thing is obviously it's a hype video, so it's not showing the situations where he's just running and running and running and driving and stuff.
Or die 30 seconds in.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it a lot, so you'll have a squad to hop in with if you ever do join in. Me, the Cooch 4, we play pretty much every single day. More or less because we've entered a couple tournaments and stuff like that. That's another thing that I like I like entering tournaments because it gives me another push to play something in a way. It's like, oh, well,
for sure.
I don't know what I want to play. Oh, wait, I have a tournament coming up for Battle Royale. So I'm going to hop into Battle Royale with the teammates and see what we can do, practice a little bit. So I kind of like that.
Right. Yeah. I do miss those days of grinding Halo or Rock Band for a couple weeks before a tourney, even if it was a local little thing.
Yep.
And just being excited about that. So
yeah. So if
maybe I'll get in a COD turn. Mm-hmm.
Enter in. Moke Boy's running a COD tourney not this weekend, but the following weekend, and it's Trios Battle Royale. So more teams, the merrier. So, it's a really easy format too. It's a really cool format.
Looking for 2 teammates, chat. Looking for 2 teammates.
Get it going. And then, I'm always looking to squad up too. So if people want to play Warzone, just post in the squad up in the C2. And I'll be like, yes, let's go. Let's go. I'm kind of addicted. The only other game that I'm playing right now is Division 2, which you started playing the expansion, but do you and Tom still play?
No, oddly enough, I've even mentioned it to him. I kind of played for him. He really wanted to get back into it.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Every time I mention it, I don't know if it's just a bad... He just doesn't feel like playing it in that moment. I don't know what it is. We haven't gotten back into it. I know we've talked about playing with you, so maybe that'll happen someday, although you passed us in the story, so we'll have to play catch up.
No, it's okay. It's the Division story, at least the expansion story portion of it is whatever, I do want to start over on the Division 2. I keep looking at the icon over here for some reason. I don't know why. But I do want to start completely over at Division 1, play through the whole entire story of Division 1, Division 2, and the expansion in one, not one sitting, but one marathon gaming week or two. Because you can get through pretty quick.
Did you just confirm a 48-hour stream? I think I heard you.
Well, I would go about 20 hours, and then I would just be sleeping on my desk. And then wake up again, and I'd be ready to play.
Are back in, I hear.
Oh, there was someone, I think Chimpy posted it to my Discord today, and he was talking about this person that is streaming rearranging their garage. They're just in their garage, and they're rearranging their garage. They're not interacting or anything. Like, the chat's doing its own thing, but they're in the garage rearranging. Like, what?
I hope they play the Tetris music the entire time.
Right. Do polls of like, where do you think I'm gonna move this box? Yeah, just some random stuff.
On the top of the screen, should show the next piece of furniture that he's about to move.
Right. It's gonna be this box. Like, that's such a weird.
That'd be kind of fun.
That's such a weird thing. Like, everyone's streaming now. Everyone's streaming, which makes it really, really hard to like build. Because there's so many channels out there. There's so many things out there. Like, you kind of get pushed to the bottom just because, like, there's even a lot of things going on right now that are kind of iffy, where there's some streams that are taking other streamers' videos and just re-streaming them. But, like, I guess people are getting tricked by it and subscribing to these re-stream channels, which...
How do you
get messed up like that? Like, he talks about the name. He's got all the animations of the screen name that's supposed to be streaming it, and then you're like, oh, I'll subscribe to this channel that's not the same thing. Let's go. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
The real Barth guy, right. And they're like,
they just.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait, what's going on here? But it's real hard to grow. So there's an interesting thing that we talked about before the show: stream coaching. So you have some of these like stream coaching things, and they're. I guess I'm trying to think of the right term for it, but other than stream coaching, I guess that's just what it is. What do you think about that kind of, well, let's not go business model, but that kind of assistance when you're trying to be a streamer? Because, we're all kind of smaller.
I mean, it's tough to go too far into it, obviously, because I haven't taken one, so I can't judge something I haven't done.
Right.
I think with anything, coaching's not a bad thing if they actually can add value to what you're doing and give you some true advice. I mean, the football coach might not be the best football player, but if he can understand the game and he understands your strengths and weaknesses, they can definitely like teach you to be a better player yourself.
Right.
So I do think there is value in it. I have a hard time with trusting it on Twitch, because Twitch is such it's a personality thing where football is played always the same, basically, right? Yeah. Like, you throw a ball, you catch it, you get to whatever. You
try to trick them in different ways, whatever. Like,
yeah. But Twitch is now TV has always been in the name, but it's truly TV now. As you just said, some guy's organizing his garage, and like with everything that's going on in the world right now, people are literally streaming everything. Like, anything they can think of, people are like, I'm just gonna stream it, because why not? And like, some people are watching some of this stuff, and like, it's true TV. So to have a coach teach you something can be anything is almost impossible in my mind. I mean, I get they can give you tips on like post X amount of this, or here's how I find analytics to help me. And if you can learn how to read your own analytics and like how to figure out what works and what doesn't work for yourself, there's value in that. But I'm not sure they could come in and be like, well, if you laughed at this moment, that would be better. Like, no, it's a harder thing to train in. And I like I said, part of me wants to take one of those courses so that I can say more and just to see if it helps. I'd be interested.
Yeah,
but,
the obvious
they're expensive. I don't want to use that word, because
what kind of value do you put on it? Like, what if you take this course and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, it really worked. Now I'm actually moving up on, I don't know why I say moving up, but I'm gaining a bigger following, everything's working out, so this was really worth its money. Or the exact opposite's going to happen. You're going to be like, well, I learned a couple of things and really nothing has changed. Yeah. So
I mean, if you paid a couple $100 and 4 months down the road you went from one viewer to partnered and like sponsorships and yada, like, that's best case scenario, right? But like, I obviously would say that's well worth your money.
Yeah.
And even if you grew, even if you just felt better about streaming, it could be worth it.
Yeah, I guess.
Hugh Graham says there's a difference between mentor and coach. I guess that's a good point too.
I guess for some reason in my mind, mentor is like kind of someone you look up to, but don't necessarily work with in a way. And a coach is more like and the coach is more like hands-on, like, okay, we're going to work on your presentation, we'll say, and we're going to try to push you to be better. I mean, mentor technically can be the same thing, but for some reason I look at mentor as someone that you aspire to be, but they aren't necessarily directly helping you. They might talk to you and give you a couple hints here and there, but not that they're like, okay, we're going to make your stream just as good as my stream, kind of a thing. That's where the difference lies for me. I don't know if that makes sense, but kind of
for sure. Yeah, like I was saying before, though, it's just like you can watch big streamers all day, but if you just do what they're doing, you probably won't succeed because they're filling that spot on Twitch.
Well, a lot of this
doesn't need to be the same guy on Twitch again.
Right. And a lot of the stuff that they are doing that is probably making them successful is not stuff that you're watching at that moment. You are the reason you're there is because of the other stuff that they've done to get you there, to make them seem.
You may not even realize
it. Right. So something that you kind of don't really recognize, like the YouTube video. You saw a little hype reel of Dr. Disrespect, and you wanted to play the game, which is obviously Call of Duty's goal with him being a partner, but it's one of those things where, like, for me, I enjoy the doc a bit, and that would make me be like,
and maybe talk about it again on this podcast. I brought him up. Maybe someone's never heard of him and they listen to this, and
exactly
there we go. So it full circle. I don't, like I said, I kind of brought up this topic because I got the email about streaming coaches or whatever.
Yeah, stream coach. Stream coach by Ashney. We both follow her.
Ashney Christ, pretty big in the in the Twitch community. She's kind of known for that type of thing, mentorship and coaching and yada yada. Like I said, I don't know her well enough to say one way or the other about. I mean, she's successful on Twitch, so she knows something better than me.
Right.
She's
I mean, I watch a lot of her videos now as well, and she talks about how she was stuck in a rut for a long time and then figured it out, and then she uses the stuff that she learned through there to teach you, kind of a thing. So, it's interesting. I got that same email, but I did put the application in, and now I have to make the decision on do I book it or do I leave it alone? And I haven't really made that decision quite yet. I'm not really sure, because there's also this weird thing where. Do you ever get in the mode when you're thinking about asking someone for mentorship or coaching or something like that, where you're like, well, I don't know, I kind of feel like I've been doing it for a while, so like I'm not like a newbie. So you're like, I don't know, do I qualify as this person who should be using these services, or am I too far along in the process already? It's kind of weird.
So I also brought it up because I have a buddy. I don't want to name names, but I think it was public. He was on Twitch doing working with someone who was supposed to help him market and kind of figure out his stream and yada yada. And they did the whole thing live on Twitch, and I watched the whole thing. And not to trash on the guy trying to help him, not anything. Just I felt like everything said in the session was things that like I could have said to him, and I would be worried that if I spent $300 or whatever on a streaming thing, that it still might be helpful, right? Like someone pushing you is always helpful, but if they just ended up saying a bunch of stuff I said, I'd be curious if I would feel bad about spending the money, or if I would kick myself and be like, you should have just pushed yourself to do the things you knew to do.
Like, didn't tell me anything new. Like I've always had these thoughts, but I didn't have the determination to keep doing the things that were necessary in a way, Like we all have the desire to succeed, but do we all have the determination to take action to make ourselves actually succeed, It's kind of an interesting thing.
A lot of things are hard work, and they take a lot of time, they take a lot of effort. You don't know if they're going to pay off. You have fear, you have
to try 700 things before something finally kind of works. Well,
I'd say if nothing else, if they push you to do some of those things and help you kind of navigate that, maybe just kind of taking the guesswork and the fear out of it, and because you're not thinking as much about it. If someone says do this, it's going to work, you probably just do it without really being like, oh, what if it gets new viewers or whatever?
Right, because it's like an assignment or something in a way. Yeah, like.
So I could see, even if they said all things that you knew, and it pushed you to do better anyway, it could be worth it. As we said, you don't know till the end result, and it's still going to be opinion based.
Yep.
They could tell you the best knowledge that you didn't know, teach you the best things to do, and if a month later when the course ends, you go back to like I don't know, sleeping all day and gaming by yourself at night and never streaming or something, like
yep.
You go right back into your rut, and that's not their fault.
You did all the assignments and you were starting to build something great, and then when the course ends, you just go back to your old ways. That would be a waste. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my kids, they do all this good stuff during the school year, and then the summertime comes. No, I'm just joking.
A little different,
different, right?
No, exactly.
Oh, so I tried a new
last
game.
Episode.
What?
You got something to say?
I can say it whenever. We both tried to transition. That was smooth.
We did promise we'd talk about something today, and I was going to hit it after Division.
Okay.
But we kept going. So game models was where we left off on 2 weeks ago.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. Subscriptions, free to play, DLC, or you buy a game and that's the game. The original model, right? Like when you bought a game for Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES, there was no DLC later.
Right.
Like,
okay.
There was never a download, not once. You played whatever they made until you got sick of it.
Okay. So I do have pretty, I would want to say they're normal opinions about this, but we'll see. We'll see. So I don't like the old school way where you'd get a cartridge and then that was the game and you're like, well, that's it. That's all I get. Because, back in the days, those epic cartridge bugs that just, it's broken. And all of a sudden you're like, okay,
games
whatever.
were easier back then too, right?
True.
Bugs were probably less common for the most part.
Yeah.
And if they were, they probably weren't huge. They weren't online. So
not as bad as we have now where it's like completely game breaking because all of a sudden you can't climb the wall because back in those days you couldn't climb walls anyways. You just jump.
There were no walls to climb.
Right. You just jump. Whatever. I don't love that style, but I also don't love the new style where we're buying $60 games that aren't finished. So here's the big problem I have with the $60 game model now is because how many times have we gotten a game and then it's just not done? It's just plain not done. And you're like, it needed 6 more months of development, and then they get that 6 months and then they release this huge patch that like fixes the game to be what it is. What's that game? Journey? Was it Journey that came out and it was absolutely terrible? No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky.
Journey is an amazing game for the PlayStation. It's a single player experience. Do not trash on Journey.
It's No Man's Sky, and Hugh Graham is right. It's also Fallout 76. So those two games kind of followed the same failure then success track, if you will. They released because they were pushed to release. The developers knew it wasn't done, but the publisher was like, no, it's got to go out. Let's go. So they published the game. Everyone ends up just trashing on it, hating it. It was just not what it should be. Anthem could be another one. And then later on, No Man's Sky got like the No Man's Sky Next update, which was like, okay, now the game's all of a sudden good, but we've already soured the taste of everyone. Everyone's already seen the terrible reviews. Everyone's already kind of abandoned the game by this point. Fallout 76, I mean, they had a lot of problems there. Hugh Graham saying Elder Scrolls Online also suffered from the same exact thing. I guess that's a really long explanation of going, I really hate it that now we're in the world where publishers tell the developers, it's got to go out broken.
I wonder if that started before or after the, early access always games. Like PUBG was an early access for, I don't know, 2 years. Technically, Fortnite is still early release.
How in the world?
Which is silly.
How in the world can you be on early release Chapter 2? A new map. Like you got rid of a map.
I'm pretty sure it still says early release on it somewhere. I could be wrong on that. They may have changed it recently, but it's been early release forever.
It's so weird.
I would say for the most part, I agree with your opinions. Although, wouldn't you consider like technically like the first Last of Us? Wasn't that kind of just buy the cartridge and done? Yeah, they had I think they had some DLC type stuff after, but if they did, I didn't play it.
I guess kind of. The thing that's nice about the games, because I'm all digital now, but the thing that's nice is like if there is something broken, they can give you an update, or they can throw New Game Plus in later. So if you beat the game on all the difficulties, all of a sudden you're like, I really miss Horizon Zero Dawn, and then all of a sudden later on down the road, it's like, oh, we're gonna release New Game Plus, where you get some extra stuff, you get to keep your collections and all that stuff. I like.
So I wouldn't consider like a bug fix, like an update. Like that's still buying the cartridge.
Okay.
And if all they released was, you couldn't get past this mission, we fixed that. To me, that's still just buying the cartridge and you're kind of done because you're not paying for DLC. Okay. You're not waiting around for like this new expansion's coming out. Like you're still playing what came out on the disc.
The original idea.
They just didn't have the QA team that, even if a QA team's 100 people, 1,000 people, like Apple releases products with bugs and like, I'm sure they have a huge QA team but it's different. Even if you have 2,000 people, how many people buy an iPhone? That's a way bigger number. You have a lot more hands on to test.
Right.
So I don't mind bug fixes. I don't mind like I said, a Tomb Raider, The Last of Us, Zelda. I mean, Breath of the Wild had some expansions, but I don't even play them. I play the
base.
The cartridge game, and I'm done.
Do you ever go back?
I don't mind that.
If they release a New Game Plus or something, are you ever pulled back in to the point where you're like, oh, I really love that game, so yeah, let's jump back in because they're giving me this new content. They're giving me this new stuff.
It's rare.
Okay.
It's very rare. I never played any of those except Breath of the Wild's probably the only one that I did go back, but even that I didn't finish the expansions or whatever. I just kind of like dabbled in it.
Okay.
That's just being a big Zelda fan. I mean, those are cool. I never minded DLC either, like $15, $20 actual good DLC, not like we added like one map. Like Halo had a bad model for a while. You'd buy like these map packs. I think COD did it too, maybe. I hated those.
Yeah, but so back in the day, how COD worked is you buy the base game, and then you either get the season pass or you individually buy the map packs as they're released each quarter or whatever. I always did the season pass version where I'm like, well, I know I'm going to want all the maps. So rather than buying them as they come out and spending a little bit more money, I'm going to go ahead and just grab the season pass and be done with it, So I really do like the season pass model where it keeps you in the game. But
see, I didn't like map packs. Like I remember Halo when they first started doing that. Like you have one friend who can't afford it, or your other friend who buys all of them and you don't have all of them, and like now it'll try to load a map that one of you doesn't have and you can't even play because you don't have the map, and it's like this big thing of like who has what and trying to navigate that instead of just playing the game you wanted to play.
Right. Okay.
I remember that being a nightmare. So like for me, map packs aren't that great. Like I'd rather them release a new map for free and then I don't know, sell a new skin for my character or something instead to make up the money. So
you kind of like the free-to-play cosmetic DLC micro.
I don't like free-to-play.
Okay.
I don't hate it. So free-to-play has its place. It's amazing for getting your old buddies used to game with to try a game with you or whatever, because they're not going to, if they have time, they're not going to be like, I can't afford that, man, right now. It's free. And Fortnite, how many of your friends did you probably played with a bunch of people at one point because everybody had it. It was free.
Yeah. There was no.
I've had people get back into Destiny for a week. It's free now. The base game at least. So I don't hate that. I personally right now am hating free to play because it's ruined my favorite game, Destiny 2. Because it is very riddled with cheaters, and a lot of online games are facing that with these free-to-play models because
Call of Duty Warzone.
Well, you ban them, and what do? They make another free account.
Yeah, who cares?
It's free.
Doesn't matter.
Even if you IP ban them, they can have a new IP easily. There's nothing you can really do besides try to anti-cheat, and that's not perfect. So you tack on a $60 price to the game, and you better believe the cheating goes down because nobody wants to lose $60 because they want to try out a new aimbot or whatever.
Yeah, cheaters are still in those games, surprisingly enough. But yeah, it does. It dramatically decreases it. Hugh Graham says something kind of funny that I want to mention because I struggled with that actually just the other day in Call of Duty. He goes, the map pack is 2,400 Microsoft points, but they only sold Microsoft points in cards of 5,000 or something. Some what am I trying to say? denomination that doesn't add up to the exact number or like whatever.
They did that on purpose.
Oh yeah, of course they did. Like I was struggling with Call of Duty just the other day because so you get free Call of Duty points and you have to buy everything with Call of Duty points just like the Microsoft point situation in Halo, right? And just because, I play it all the time, so I was like, you know what? I want to buy one of these character packs so I have the character color I want and like this one's cool. I'm going to go ahead and buy that one. So I go in there and I look at the Call of Duty store and it's like, okay, this is $1,800. And the only way you could buy it is if you get the like $2,400 pack or if you get 2 of the lower packs. And I'm just like, why can't it just be like, I want that item for $8? Like I want specifically
what does it cost?
One single thing. I might buy something else later, but I don't want to have leftover COD points. But like you said, they obviously do it on purpose because
they go, oh, you have 200 left over, and then you see an item that's 400, and you're like, I'm halfway there. I might as well buy it. Oh, well, here we go again. I got to buy the $5 pack, and now I have leftovers
now I have
again.
1,000,
it's like a never-ending.
And it's just that never-ending feeding you into. Oh, but I'll grab that extra little bit, But yeah, I struggled with the same thing, and we all know it's that stupid marketing move, and it's really smart, but really irritating because I fall into it.
I know for me, like if it's a game I play, like Destiny, I just buy like the $25 pack.
Okay.
Even if I'm buying like a $3 item, because I'm like, whatever.
It's gonna happen.
I've been playing for 3 years. I'll eventually find something I'm interested in, and I'll just pick it up because I'll have it. And,
okay.
I've done that even with like a Fortnite or something. Like, I'm probably going to play this a little longer. I'll buy a little more and who cares? Because, especially a free-to-play game, you can not feel bad about it. Because if you put 100 hours into a free game, I don't mind giving the developers, $25 or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not really mad about like buying extra stuff. Like I'm fine with buying cosmetics or buying things. I wish I could just go to that store and it's like, this is $1, this is $2, this is $3. And I'm like, okay, bam, bam. I want whatever it is. I don't have any leftover points or whatever denomination of things they want to give us. I just want that thing. But do you like the battle pass systems that are out now? So like you spend an arbitrary amount of money and you like get a better progression system in the game. I'm kind of mixed on that because it gives you something else to play for, but it's like, why can't I just have this stuff when I pay the money in a way? It's like,
yeah, I think the problem is if it's just cosmetics, especially if they're not like cool cosmetics, it can get kind of lame. Like, for instance, I like the battle pass in Fortnite because it gives you challenges to do. So if like I've been burnt out on fighting because I'm just playing bad that night or everyone's better than me, whatever it is. Okay. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to work on this challenge that I know I can do. It says land and whatever 5 times. I can do that. Even if I play like garbage, I can land.
Yeah.
So it gives you like some sort of an accomplishment for the night and something to work on. Well, instead of getting frustrated. On the other hand, though, yeah, I mean, as I said before, I'd rather just pay $60 and like, I miss the days where by beating the game on hard, you unlocked a skin. By doing the secret side quest, you got a skin. Like whatever it was, you got some sort of like cosmetic achievement where I feel like every game now the achievement is finishing a battle pass that just is X amount of hours of gameplay, basically.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as good.
Yeah.
I'm not like, yes, I did it. I got the level 20 battle pass item. Like,
woo. I remember back in the day, I can relate to this because I remember back in the day, GoldenEye 64, you didn't get any cosmetics, you didn't get anything like that, but you unlocked cheat codes that you could play with in the main game.
Okay. Yeah.
So you had the cheat section and you had to finish, Facility in like under 2 minutes or something in order to get the invincibility cheat. And I remember playing that for like a month straight trying to beat it. And like you're 1 second off and you're like, no! You just throw the controller down
then you have something to feel good about and something to show off.
Yeah, your friend comes over one day and he's like, you got the invincibility cheat? How'd you do it? And you're like, well, I did the thing, but it was like took me 45 million tries. And nowadays, what would be awesome? It would all be streamed. You're like, let me show you the final run. You just go into your VODs, pull it down, and you're like, check it out. That's what's so cool about streaming. That's what I love about streaming is being able to relive epic moments You don't just have to remember them up here in your brain. You actually can go back to your VODs and be like, oh, I'm going to pull that down, keep it forever so I can show off that moment that this amazing thing happened. That's one of the reasons I started way back in the day. I wanted to just remember great matches in Street Fighter when I was in tournaments. That's it. That's why I started streaming and recording.
Yeah.
And then it all branched out.
Even like Super Smash Bros. I mean, it was simpler than what we're talking about, but still, you had to like, I don't know, win 20 multiplayer games to get unlock Jigglypuff or whatever. You know, like it was just, I think Jigglypuff was beat the game on easy, but whatever it is, you know, like just these things. Like, I feel like we're losing a lot of that because of all this cosmetic stuff. Like, I mean, I say it every time. You know, Destiny. Like, I love that game, and I still enjoy it to this day, but there's a lot of things that people complain about that's like, that should have been unlockable.
There's no status.
You just threw it in the store.
It's not like, oh, you got the red helmet, for lack of anything coming to mind. You got the red helmet that took that many things, or you had to do this special thing. Man, I can't wait until I can get that. I've been working and grinding on that forever. Now you're like, how much did you pay for that thing? That's it. Yeah, like...
I mean, they have some stuff, of course, that like you can still show off that you had to earn, but it's still like there's a lot of games and a lot of things in games that the cooler stuff half the time is just what people bought.
Yeah.
So even if you earned the other thing, no one cares because they have the $20 super cool flaming, you know, animated skin, and you have like the green outfit that was really hard to get.
Yep.
It's like,
yeah. They're no longer status symbols, it feels like and even the status symbols, like you say there is some in Destiny, most people probably don't even know. Like if they see you with it, you're like, okay, they bought another pack of something, whatever. Like, because it gets intermingled. The only one that's probably
cool is titles.
Okay.
You can have, like, if you're from WoW or something, you can have titles under your name, which, you know, if you're in the game at all, you kind of know what they did. They're not all terribly difficult, but you at least know, you know, they put some work in that thing.
Yeah, it's more than just buying it or editing it.
You didn't log on today and purchase. I mean, maybe you did. Maybe you bought it off the black market of gaming or whatever. But, you know, somebody earned it.
Right. The Big Cheese Ball says, I had a 1v5 clutch to win a tournament this year on Call of Duty. It was hype. But what I have to call out is I didn't see that posted in the YouTube video submissions that we have in the C2 Creator Crew. I want to see that posted.
COD tourney for C2.
Oh yeah, that's true too. What the heck, Cheeseball? Come on. Speaking of, do we know what the next tourney is going to be? Do we have any idea?
We talked Valorant. As I said before, I'm not 100% just because I don't know if everyone has it that would want to play. I don't even know if we have the people for it. I haven't tried custom games, and as of right now, the only mode I know is 5v5, so teams are kind of big. I believe you can do smaller teams, but we'd have to try it out beforehand. I've been kind of thinking about potentially like a Destiny tourney, but I don't know if that would turn out well. Okay. But just because I would like to do that.
Well, hey, why not?
Never hurts to do more Call of Duty tourneys or Fortnite tourneys, or, you know, whatever people are interested in. I really want to have the people for it. We finally got 8 teams last tourney. Got the 8 teams. I was so stoked because that's a perfect bracket. You obviously, your Call of Duty crashed and would basically not even let you play.
Yep, it wouldn't.
Almost right before.
It wouldn't start up. So I signed on to practice for a couple games before the tournament, and clicked on Call of Duty, and it just went to a black screen, and then went to my desktop, and it wouldn't open.
Yeah.
I tried all the typical fixes that I'd been doing over the course of weeks to make it snap out of it, and none of them works anymore. I finally fixed it, though. It took a lot of tinkering with the software, but I finally fixed what was going on, and it was something much bigger than Call of Duty. I was blaming it on Call of Duty, but it was something much bigger, so there is that.
So next time, no excuses for Darth to drop out last minute.
No excuses.
I think he got scared. He saw my gameplay, and he was like, can't make it, man.
I was like, Noodles is in here. I can't play against him. I got a jet. I gotta drop out somehow.
And we had you, obviously, that problem, and then we had one team late, and another team didn't make it. So we ended up with 5 teams. So it was a pretty small tourney, which, you know, it feels better when you have like you don't just get a free win or any of that. So like, I want games that everyone's excited to actually do these tourneys and get some excitement. So people really want to do it. Let me know.
Please let us know what games.
Make sure we got some people for it, and let's do it.
A 2v2 search and destroy tourney, Big Cheeseball says. Oof. That's an interesting one. I would definitely get in on that one. That's a fun one.
And I think Hugh Graham's telling me to do the Destiny. He says 1v1 me.
I would play in the Destiny tournament for sure. For sure.
I mean, it's free to play, so it's another one that one's free. Destiny is even for the customs.
Not cross play though, right?
Yes, it is. Oh no, it's cross save, not cross play. Okay. You can play all day on PC and then swap over to PS4 and have your same character, same loadout.
Right, but we wouldn't.
But you have to buy the DLC on every system if you want to play it.
Okay, so it wouldn't be like a Call of Duty where we could have PC and PlayStation and just a mixed bag of whatever we want. Okay, that's
unfortunately not.
I can't wait till that's just the way things are. Like
Google Stadia is its own server and free for everybody. Kinda, you can play on like a Chromebook.
Yeah, you can also play against PC players because you can play
not on Destiny.
What? I swear to God, I saw that. It's its
own server.
I swear I saw that you could play against each other. Oh, okay.
Stadia is its own servers. I know because people have been purposely going on Stadia to get easier comp games and stuff.
Oh, okay. So then you're boosting your level in easier comp games, and then you're going over to your primary. That's shady. Oh, gross.
Well, it's the same. I think I would actually have an easier time on PS4. Oof. Because people on mouse and keyboard are insane.
The competition levels are low.
I'm not saying there's no PS4 players that could beat a PC player. I'm not an elitist by any means, but there are kids on PC who have been playing since they're a kid, and they can click my head immediately all the time.
What is it? Shroud? That's like the robot?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and with a controller, there are people who are very good. They're much better players than me, but there's just not that speed of clicking my head. Mm-hmm. There just isn't. So I think I'd have an easier time on PlayStation. I just can't go back 30 frames, man. I could not play Destiny in 30 frames anymore.
Actually,
I've had 120 frames at least for.
That's an interesting question.
2 years.
So I posed this question to my Discord peeps today, and I asked, "Are you guys all kind of FPS whores like I am? Like, I can run every single game at a solid 60, but I'm like, but I want to push it up to like 120. If I could run 155 constantly, that's what my monitor can push every single game, I would love it. But I'm like, as long as I'm over 100, I feel okay. And then if I dip into the 90s, I'm like, I got to fix something. Something's got to change. Are you that way?
I think if I'm at 60 or higher, and I won't make a big fuss.
Okay.
But I will notice sometimes. I know I've had so Destiny has a bug right now that a lot of times when you start it up, you're locked at 30 frames. It's a quick fix. You go into the settings, you turn frame cap on and then off, or off then on, whatever you want.
Right.
You swap it back and then it's fixed. But I forget all the time, and I'll jump into a PvP game, and I immediately have to stop and change it because I can't hit any shots.
Right.
I can't hit anybody at 30 frames because they're at 150 frames flying around the map.
It's a huge difference. There was a monitor at CES that was up to 340 hertz, and they did it at the booth. They did a challenge where they went, okay, we're going to scroll a bunch of things by you, and you have to click on them as they scroll by with the mouse. They did 30 frames, 60 frames, 120 frames, 240 frames, and then 340 frames. And the increased accuracy of the people were proportionate with the higher frame rates, and it was interesting to see. But I'm like, yeah, but you're running a scrolling image on screen at 340. Give me a game and show it running at 340 frames per second. Come on, like, what kind of beast machine would you have to have there? I mean, because I want to know, I want to buy it. No,
I want to buy it.
I want that on my desk. I mean,
so I am looking for higher frames when I'm playing, just because of that. Like, I know you're at a slight, even if it's minimal, I want every advantage I can get, right?
Especially as you creep it closer to 40 years old, you gotta have that. You gotta have those extra frames, right? I am a FPS whore. I don't know. I just have to. I won't go down to 1080p though, because if I dropped it down to 1080p instead of running 1440, I would probably obviously get more. But I can't do it. I have to run 1440, and I have to be over 100 frames in every game. I'll spend hours testing every single environment I can walk through, and making sure all the graphics settings work and get me over 100 frames. And I'm like, I am wasting so much time.
Resolution to me is not as big. Like, if it starts to get pixely, like, bad, like, that's the different thing. But I play on, 140,
you play
1440 as well.
Yeah, you play on the same monitor I did. I do, because you recommended it to me.
That's right.
The Dell.
I recommended my monitor, so we play on the same settings. But if it was 1080, I wouldn't. Like, I would play that. It wouldn't bother me at all.
1080 on the PS4 is what I always played.
Same.
I don't know. I definitely can tell a massive difference between the 1440 and the 1080. But it's also because I am, instead of playing on a PS4 Pro, I'm also playing on a straight-up gaming PC now. So obviously I'm going to see the massive difference in those graphics. It's just going to be natural to see that. I love it, but
it's one of those things when you go up, going back down feels worse, right? Like when I was playing a PlayStation for years at 30 frames. I didn't care. I never even considered that it was a problem.
The only time it was a problem is if it ever dipped below 30. You're like, what is this garbage?
Yeah, if it was 9 something, you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But now, if I played at 30, I've tried, and I almost get a headache. It sounds crazy, but I've gone away from it for so long. If it's a story mode game, that's a different story. Like Hugh said, he plays like Witcher and stuff at 60. You could lock any story game at 60, and I probably wouldn't care.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Also, you get a little bit of a cinematic feel, because if you want something to be cinematic, a lot of the time, like, things are running in 24 frames per second to get that kind of weird, that different feel to it. But a story game where it's more cinematic and it's more like the feelings and environments, I think that would be fine at like a 60. But like Call of Duty, I'm like, give me every single, like, if I can change the shadows to low and get 5 more frames, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm running shadows on low. I don't know, like, whatever.
See, I wouldn't.
You're running around so fast.
Especially shadows. But
it's, I don't know, I just can't. Ever since I started PC gaming, like, mentally, I'm like, if it's not a 3-digit FPS number, I'm freaking out. And I don't know why. It's just like this weird thing. And I feel like I'm being very petty about like a couple frames. Like the difference between 95 frames and 105 frames, really? But I don't see that one and then extra numbers. And I don't know. It's just weird.
See, I don't stare at it much. I only start to notice if it's like, if my eyes start to notice, I'll double take and like look in the corner and be like, okay, yeah, something's up.
I worry about it a little bit also because when I'm running OBS and streaming and doing all that stuff, I'll normally drop down 10 to 20 frames. So normally, like when I'm trying to configure the game so that when I go on stream, it'll be good. I try to boost it up a little bit more, but I don't know. I had that thought today when I was sitting there in Call of Duty, like literally walking through a level in a custom game, watching frame counters and adjusting things and messing with settings. And I'm like, am I just being really picky right now? Is this really necessary? Like, So I asked.
The answer is yes.
Yes, it definitely is. 100% confirmed I'm being picky. But, well, we're about at the hour and a half that we want to keep every episode kind of rolling with. Do you have any last things you want to cover and everything? Hugh, Big Cheese Ball, thank you so much for hanging out in our chat today. I know we didn't get to a lot of the interaction pieces there, but we did see you guys and we appreciate it.
For sure. Last few things, obviously new names, so don't look for us as Let's See To It on Spotify, Apple, whatever. Make sure you look up. We're gonna put it as Good Games Weekly Podcast, the whole title.
I was going to match it to our Twitter, so we secured the Twitter account as GG Weekly Podcast, and I was going to put it as the same thing so that hopefully all of our socials, all of our channels, everything matches exactly, is what I was hoping. So, by the way, also follow us. There's no posts quite yet, but it's at GG Weekly Podcast, all one word, because it's a Twitter username, and hang out there with us. Most of our announcements will probably be retweeted by me, Noodles, C2 Creator Crew, because, we're part of that. If we ever do miss another episode, GG Weekly Podcast, yep, that sure does. If we ever miss another episode, we did make a plan for that since we did miss last week.
Yes.
So
apologize for not updating Twitter about what we were going to do, but
right.
From here on out,
go ahead.
I think we decided to record off air.
Yes.
So if we, let's say we miss next Wednesday, we don't plan on it. We'll be there. So let's say we did, Thursday, Friday, over the weekend, whatever. Me and Darth will just sit in a Discord call or something and just kind of talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then cut the parts up and make an episode out of that. So you'll have to catch it. We probably could upload it to Twitch if that's something people wanted, but more than likely for now we'll just be uploading it to all the
podcast
Spotify,
services.
Apple,
yep,
whatever you can think of, iHeartRadio, whatever they let us update to. So hopefully we don't really miss any more weeks. I don't plan to. I mean, even Christmas, we could just, if it's like a Wednesday, we could just do we could do that kind of system. So.
Yep, I'm good with that. When's your next stream? Do you have one planned?
I haven't streamed in like 2 weeks, Darth, but catch me Friday, maybe? I'm hoping Friday.
The channel is, of course, Baggy Noodle Arms.
Baggy Noodle Arms. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. Baggy Noodle Arms, it's me.
Yep.
And you are?
I'm the real Darth Guy, literally everywhere. That was part of the draw to the name. Yep. But I'm streaming tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. And it'll be more training for the Call of Duty Warzone tournament that I have not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. The Cooch 4 is my teammate for that one. And then someone kind of new, one of my buddies from California, Dago79, which nobody quite knows yet, but you'll hear him on my stream. So... that's all I got for today. New name, GG Weekly Podcast. Follow us everywhere you can, and we're going to secure them all. And we're going to figure out who we want to raid on Twitch to send all you guys if you want to stick around for a little bit and hang out with us. But other than that, everyone have a great week.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.